Imagine making over 6 figures per year, working with cutting-edge tech and closing deals with some of the world's most innovative companies, all without being a developer, a coder, or an engineer, just a sharp mind with strong business acumen and communication skills. Welcome in the world of tech sales. In this video, I'm breaking down what tech sales actually is, what a career path looks like, what is the salary progression, and what a typical day in my life working tech sales looks like. Quick intro, my name is Matteo and I spent over 2.5 years working in a fintech startup before jumping into tech sales. And currently I'm working at AWS, Amazon Web Services in sales. And I'm very excited to make this video, guys, to give you, what I'm learning myself working in cloud computing sales, so tech sales. Whether if you're thinking about breaking into tech and you want to learn more what tech sales actually is, well, you are in the right place. And now let's get straight into the content. So first of all, you may be wondering, what is tech sales? And when we are referring to tech sales, to put it simply, you are working in sales in a B2B tech company. And these companies can be B2B SaaS companies, think Salesforce, HubSpot, or Zoom, or cloud platforms, think AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure, or also could be, cybersecurity companies like CrowdStrike or Palo Alto Networks. And the type of sales reps are doing in B2B tech companies is particular because it's not about chasing quick wins, but generally, as we are talking about high ticket software, cloud solutions, or cybersecurity products, it's more kind of a consultative selling where you need to act as a trusted advisor in order to earn trust with the customer and be able to secure, multiple hundreds or even thousands of dollars of deals. And as these sales are typically high ticket and go towards solving complex business problems, businesses don't rely on a few clicks to make the decision, but rather they're looking for conversations, trust, and someone that can guide them to the right decision. And this is why you can find tech sales jobs only for B2B tech companies, because the B2C technology companies, think about Netflix, Spotify, Uber, Canva, and much more, where you pay a subscription of $10 per month to access the software. So they rely on growth hacking techniques and it's more marketing focused. Whereas in B2B, you see technology companies building sales team from SDRs, account executives, account managers, and sales managers, and many more roles. And the good thing about working in tech sales is that, yes, AI is here, but to close high-ticket deals where humans trust humans. So in my opinion, a recession-proof job, even with AI. And in B2B sales, there's always going to be space for opportunities. And so really excited to share with you guys all what I'm learning and what my experience has taught me so far. So as said, the type of sales in B2B tech sales is kind of consultative selling. You act as a trusted advisor and you want to ask smart and strategic questions to really uncover the pain of the customer, the problems, and then position most of the time custom-made tech solutions for your account. And when you're closing a B2B tech deal, usually you need to engage with multiple stakeholders in the customer's business, right? You maybe need to engage with the CEO, the CDO. So for example, in my job, I have the privilege of engaging with C-level executives of my accounts I do business with. And this is something really interesting in tech sales because you get exposed and you close deals directly with the decision makers. Or if you don't find a decision maker, your job is to find the decision makers because those are the ones driving business revenue and making those critical decisions for their businesses. And the great thing about tech sales is that it's really high stakes, high level sales, and working in tech sales, you can really master sales and learn this skill, which is, in my opinion, one of the best to have in your business career. Now, guys, let's jump straight into the part that probably interests you the most, which is career path and salary progression. I will make distinctions both from the US and the EU market because jobs pay differently. In the US, they pay more. In the EU, less. That's how it is. So I will make distinction of the positions based on, salary in those in US and EU. And also, guys, I will refer to the compensation as OTE, which stands for on target earnings. And OTE means base salary plus compensation via bonus. So bonus is typically released when a specific goal is reached, or it's based per commission. It really depends on the company you are working for. But yeah, so sales job always come with OTE compensation, which is base salary plus bonus. Another note, OTE in sales job can be capped, meaning there is a maximum earning potential of what you can earn based on your performance, or can be uncapped, meaning the more deals you close, the more you earn, and there is not a cap on how much you can earn per year. Also, I want to make a quick distinction also between the salaries that are paid in SaaS, so if you are selling software as a service, or cloud. Typically, cloud pays more than SaaS because the underlying product is way more complex. And so, yeah, I will make all the differentiations so you can have a clear idea of sales job, whether you work in SaaS, cloud, Europe, and US. Now, let's start from the first role, the entry-level role for B2B tech sales, which is being an SDR or BDR, which is typically the same thing. SDR stands for Sales Development Representative or Software Development Representative, and BDR stands for Business Development Representative. As said, the job is most of the times very similar or almost the same. So what is the goal of an SDR or BDR? The goal is to build and qualify sales pipeline and open business opportunities. It's not driving revenue and necessarily closing deals. So the goal of an SDR, a good BDR, is someone who engages with a lot of prospects and potential clients, engages with them and qualifies if there is a sales opportunity, then can pass to an account executive or account manager that will be able to close the deal. So the role essentially entails sending a lot of cold emails, cold calling, LinkedIn outreach, and essentially book meetings with new customers. Here there is a distinction. So in some companies, typically in B2B SaaS, if you work in SDR in B2B SaaS, your role is to book meetings for the account executive. So you don't engage in the meetings with the customers, essentially. Whereas if you work in cloud, like myself, I'm a BDR at AWS, I also take care of the first meetings with the customer. So my role is to cold calling, cold emailing, and LinkedIn outreach in order to secure the first meeting with the customer, and then also engage with the customer in that first meeting, carving out, from 30 to 40 minutes to really understand the business I'm speaking with and make sure we tailor a business solution that fits the customer's needs, right? And then if I see an opportunity, I pass that to the account executive or account manager. And what is the experience required to start as an SDR or BDR? So typically, if you work as an SDR in software and you don't have to handle customer meetings, it's something you can start right away with, from 0 to 2 years of experience. You need strong communication skills and strong business acumen, but really you can start right away. Whereas if you work in cloud as a BDR, for example, it's typically required to have a couple of years of experience, of sales experience, before starting as a BDR, because you also have to engage customer meetings, driving opportunities, and the products are much more complex than in SaaS. Now, what is the salary you can expect? So I have my notes here. So if you work in B2B SaaS as an SDR, BDR, in Europe, your salary OTE will be from 40 to 50k euros. If you work in the US, that would be from 50 to 70k OTE. Then if you work in cloud, BDR, in Europe, your salary would be a range from 50 to 70k per year euros. Whereas if you work in cloud in the US as a BDR, your salary range would be from 60k to 90k dollars per year on target earnings, OTE. So after being a BDR or SDR for typically 1 to 2 years, depending on the company, you can move to an account executive or account manager position. And the goal of an account executive or account manager, typically referred as AEs or AMs, is to drive business revenue. So they're responsible for securing revenue for the company, and the on-target earning, bonus compensation comes with the actual closure of the deal. Whereas when you are an SDR or BDR, the OTE comes from building pipeline and sales opportunities, but SDRs and BDRs are not responsible for actually securing the deal. So let's make a quick distinction between account executives and account managers. What is the difference? So typically the account executive is responsible for driving new business, so closing new deals with new customers, whereas the account manager manages the relationship with existing customers and tries to build new sales pipeline and close new deals with existing strategic customers typically. The account executive manages, the full sales cycle or a part of it, because if the split is having, an account executive and a BDR, the BDR qualifies a sales opportunity and then the account executive closes that opportunity, right? So the prospecting and, engaging the first time with a customer is taken care by the BDR, and then the account executive focuses on closing the deal and driving revenue for the company. Or sometimes B2B tech companies, especially when teams are not big, they may have full sales cycle AEs. So AEs do the full sales cycle from prospecting to the first meeting to the closure. But again, this is more typical when companies are, small size, because when the team is bigger, the sales team is bigger, and the organization is growing, typically there is a BDR team or SDR team, account executives and account managers, right? What is the experience required to be an AE or account manager? So if you are progressing inside the same company, typically after 1 or 2 years of BDR, SDR, you can move to an account executive role. If you join from outside, maybe sometimes it is required, from 3 to 4 years of combined sales experience. So from multiple sales roles that you have done in the past. And let's jump straight into what is the salary expectation. If you work in B2B SaaS in Europe, you can earn from 60 to 100K as an account executive with on-target earnings. So here the range is, starts to be a little bit bigger, because when you drive revenue as an account executive, your commission can really start to vary quite significantly, right? And for BDRs, typically the OTE can be capped, whereas for AEs, that could be uncapped, right? So B2B SaaS, 60 to 100K in Europe, and in the US, from 80 to 150K OTE, average salary. If you work in cloud in Europe as an account executive, from 70 to 120K euros, so the salary really starts being a six-figure salary if you work an account executive also in Europe. And in the US, from 130 to 180K on target earning salary. Again, because cloud has more complex solutions and requires more experience than being an account executive in B2B SaaS. So that's why salary compensation is typically higher. Moving on, if you still want to remain an individual contributor, meaning someone who drives business revenue for the company and is not managing a team, so is not a sales manager, after some years of experience, you can become an enterprise account executive or enterprise account manager. So this means that you are handling large and complex deals with a number of accounts which is significantly less than working with SMBs or mid-sized market. Maybe you are just working with 10 companies per year, 5 companies per year. I know account managers and account executive working with 2 companies per year, right? Because those are accounts, businesses, and when I'm talking about accounts, it means businesses, so customers that maybe are huge, right? So for this role, being someone who closes deals with enterprise customer, it's required some kind of a seniority, especially because those companies could be in traditional industries where people are not young, and then it's required to have some kind of seniority. In order to close deals and relate with those kind of accounts, you need to be senior as well. So typically I would say you need at least 5 years of sales experience to become an enterprise account executive or account manager. If you work with really strategic accounts, I would say it's required also sometimes to have 10 years of sales experience. But yeah, this varies a lot. Salary expectation, if you work as account executive or AM for a B2B SaaS company in Europe, salary from 70K to 140K OTE. If you work in the US, from 90K to 250K OTE. Here the range is even wider, because if you close enterprise deals, those are deals worth millions of dollars per year. So the compensation via bonus really can skyrocket, right? If you work in cloud in Europe, from 80 to 100K plus. And in the US, if you work in cloud as enterprise AE or AM, the compensation can be from 130K to 300K plus per year. So yeah, I know some top performers in the US, I would say, not in Europe, I'm not aware at the moment, can earn $500,000 per year being an enterprise account executive. So yeah, here really big bonus if you are able to close multi-million-dollar deals. So what we have seen so far is the career progression if you want to stay as an individual contributor inside your company and not go the managing route. Career could be start as a BDR, then after 1 or 2 years move an account executive, and then after some years, 3 years, you could be an enterprise account executive or account manager. Or if you want to go the managing route, so that means becoming a sales manager and start coaching and managing a team of reps, you can, for example, start as a BDR and then after a couple of years maybe become a BDR manager, or start as a BDR, become an account executive, and after maybe 3 years become an account executive manager. So to put it simply, the main role, the manager should help you remove any kind of blockers you have in order to reach your goals, right? To reach your quota. And good managers are the ones that are able to support you and remove blockers, are not the ones micromanaging you. They give you full trust and ownership to reach your goals, there for you to make you succeed. Typically, a sales manager may be managing a team of 8 to 10 reps. And so the compensation of the sales managers is also described as OTE. And the goal of the manager is typically the sum of his reps, right? His or her own reps. The good thing about this model is that the manager is incentivized for each rep to succeed because his goal or her goal is the sum of the reps' goals, right? Whether if that's BDR manager, account executive manager, or manager of AMs, right? Experience typically depends, of course, if you are BDR manager, AE manager, or manager of AMs. I would say from 5 to 8 years of sales experience. And salaries for B2B SaaS sales manager Europe from 60 to 100K, US from 80 to 120K OTE, cloud from 70 to 120K Europe, and US cloud from 100 to 160K OTE. And finally, we have director, head of sales, and leadership roles, which typically own a large region or segment. So maybe there could be, the head of, head of cloud for whole Germany for enterprise customer, right? Or in a B2B SaaS company, a leadership position being the head of the whole UK, Ireland region and essentially driving revenue for the whole UK, Ireland market, right? So it really depends on the size of the companies, how territories are structured. We will see better later how this works, but typically it's required to have from 8 to 12 years of experience. And here salaries really vary a lot because the stock package that comes with this role can be significant, but I would say, the compensation will be plus 200K per year, right? There are leadership roles that earn even multi-million dollars per year. Here is really not easy to tell, but 200K plus, some position also more than 1 million per year. Final note that I wanted to add is that we have talked so far about OTE compensation, and we have to remember that on top of OTE, there's usually comes a stock package, especially if you work with public listed companies, so B2B public listed companies in the stock market. And these stocks are typically vested over the course of some years. So you don't get the shares immediately, but they want to incentivize you to stay in the companies for some years. And stock are released, year over year. And then you can decide if you want to not to sell them or to sell them. Plus benefits. And this really depends, of course, on the company. There are companies that give employees more benefits, others less. So OTE plus stock package plus benefits. This is the total compensation package, often referred as TC, that you can expect working in tech sales. So I want to give you guys also a short brief of how tech sales teams are typically structured. So there is usually a team of SDRs, of BDRs. that drive new business opportunities. Then we have a team of account executive, account managers that work closely with the BDRs. So there is typically one BDR supports multiple account manager, account executives, and supports different territories. And the role of the A's and AMs, as we've seen, is to close deals and progress the opportunities that the SDR and BDRs have uncovered. Then we have sales managers that manage either the team of BDRs or either the team of A's or AMs. And also in B2B tech companies, there must be technical people that work with the sales team, right? As we have said before, the tech solution can be really complex and the customer wants to have some kind of technical counterparty to discuss technical issues, problems, or get answers on specific technical questions. So for example, as I work in cloud companies, you find solutions architects, and those are the technical people that work closely with a sales team to drive business revenue. So for example, in cloud, you have team of BDR, team of account executive and account managers, and solutions architects. And these three teams work as a one team because in order to close a deal and drive revenue for the company, every component of the chain is necessary. And so the dynamic is always is typically very good, and every component sees the value of each other. So that's why I also like tech sales. And of course, then if we expand the organization, there will be marketing team, product teams, and so on, and also partners that work with the sales team. But yeah, I would say that the core of the sales process is driven by SDRs, BDRs, account executive, account managers, and engineers or solutions architect, depending if you work in SaaS or cloud or cybersecurity, for example. And also, if you go, for example, on LinkedIn, you will find positions or job titles that are specific to some industries, territories, and so on. So I want to make also a quick guide for you so you understand how this is structured. So first of all, let's define, what is the account type you will be working with. You may be working with in B2B with startups, with SMBs, with small and medium businesses, with ISVs, which stands for independent software vendors, which are typically big software companies, or enterprise customer. And then these teams are also divided by territory, right? You could be covering EMEA, so whole Europe, APAC, US, LATAM, and so on, right? So I'm a business development representative for startups, meaning that I work with startups and my accounts, my customers are startups building on AWS. I work with a lot of them and the region, so the territory is DACH, so Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, plus CEE, which stands for Central Eastern Europe. CEE is huge, it's more than 20 countries. It goes from Poland down to Greece with, Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine. It's huge. Like CEE, it depends on the company split, but it's huge. So you understand that with DACH and CEE, the territory is huge, right? It's not even the whole Europe, because then you have, Italy, you have South Europe, you have UK, Ireland. So even Europe is a huge market. And so I work as BDR, DACH, and CE for startup. And the nice thing, for example, in my role is that I engage with startups in lots of different countries, different cultures. And I speak with a lot of founders every day. And so I feel really privileged to have this position and support founders in their cloud journey. So, but this was, guys, to make you an example on how geography splits are defined, and also, customer segment type split. And of course, every segment has its pros and cons. So for example, if you work in startups or SMB, the sales cycle is faster because companies are smaller and the ticket size is lower. Whereas if you work in enterprise, you work with just a few accounts per year, ticket sizes are big and sales cycles are way longer. So for example, I prefer not to have super long sales cycles, not wait 6-10 months to close a deal, but I rather prefer to be able to drive revenue and opportunities faster. So I like working with small companies, but for some people, They really like working with big deals, big tickets, but that of course means like engaging with a lot of stakeholders within enterprise companies, and it really can take time to get a deal. Finally, guys, I want to share with you what a typical day in my life working in tech sales at AWS looks like. So guys, as mentioned, my goal is to drive business opportunities and create a new sales pipeline, basically. To do so, my goal is to engage with customers and convince them to have a meeting with me where we uncover their needs, and then we're able to position a solution for them. So one of the key goals is to have customer meetings. So first of all, I start my morning at around 9 a.m. in the office, and in the first hour, I typically check my emails, customer emails, internal emails, Slack messages, and so on. And I also check my opportunities pipeline on Salesforce, and I want to make sure that everything is on point and clean, and I check where I need to take my next steps. If I have to call a specific customer, send some emails, making sure everything is in order in my sales pipeline. And also, I typically plan the outreach I want to do for the day. So I choose the set of accounts I want to reach out to, whether via calling, email, or LinkedIn message. Then from 10 to 12:30, typically I have customer meetings that I have booked in the days before for myself. So I dedicate a substantial amount of my time for customer meetings, as this is the most productive thing I can do. Then from 12:30 to 1:30, I have lunch with my colleagues at the office. And at 1:30, I typically go back to work. From 1:30 to 3:30 p.m., I focus on outreach and securing new meetings for the next days and weeks. So to do so, I do a lot of cold calling. I actually enjoy cold calling. I think it's very effective, and it's one of the skills that really teaches you so much about sales. And yeah, it's really an underrated skill, but it's actually very good. But cold calling is not enough. So I also send a lot of cold emails to customers, trying out different templates, different messages, different hooks to be able to secure meetings with them. And also I use LinkedIn. If I'm not able to connect, via phone or via email, I then use LinkedIn and send personalized message, earning the trust with the customer, and then secure the meeting. So my goal in the outreach is never to sell, right? It's never to sell anything, but it's rather building a relationship, making sure person trusts me, and then secure the meeting that is usually, 30 minutes to 40 minutes long, where we deep dive into the customer needs, problems, and I make sure we present a solution that is valuable for the customer, right? And I think this is the best way to go about sales, especially B2B sales. You never want to try to sell anything in the email or the phone or LinkedIn, but it's rather to establish a relationship and then have a proper conversation with the customer. And yeah, this is a tip for your success in B2B sales. From 3:30 to 5, I have space for more customer meetings. And finally, from 5 to 6, I close my day with admin stuff. So making sure I log my activities on the CRM, meaning, the emails I've sent out, the calls I've done, because in sales, you want to be very structured and organized. This is one of the key things to be a good sales rep, is to be very structured and organized, making sure you have everything in order and you log all your activities so you know what is the best steps to take. If, for example, a customer has not responded to your email, then I know I will, reach out via LinkedIn or try a different hook or different, template. And during the day and during the week, this is not super structured. It really depends on the week and on, your needs as a sales rep. I have internal meetings, and internal meetings could mean, have your weekly meeting with your BDR or account executive team, with your manager and your colleagues, where you share what's working, what's not working, best practices, highlights and lowlights of the week. If you were able to find big opportunities, or if something didn't work in your sales process. And it's really a good time to learn from each other. And in a good sales organization, it's kept short and sweet to maximize the time for everyone and making sure time is spent wisely. As a rep, as a sales rep, I also have one-on-ones with my managers, of course, to discuss my career progression, my goals, and how is my sales pipeline looking like. And also one-on-ones with my account executive and account managers to discuss the territory strategy we want to use for the specific territories. So those are the kind of internal meetings that I think are very useful. And the good thing about working in sales is that compared to other jobs where I see people have lots of unproductive internal meetings, people spending 2-3 hours in complete wasting their time in internal meetings. And these meetings in sales are very effective. They go straight to the point, and people know that the most productive thing you can do in sales is talk with customers. So everybody is very frugal with their time, and everybody wants to make sure there's a specific outcome for the meeting, and internal meetings are kept short and sweet. And yeah, so this is in short what a typical day in my life working tech sales at AWS looks like. What are the good things and the bad things about tech sales? One thing that I really like is that you earn a lot. You can really master sales as a skill, which I think is probably the foundational skill for every business. And I guess it's a recession-proof skill because there will always be need for sales reps to drive business revenue for companies. There's very good earning potential. If you perform very well, you can get paid very well. And work-life balance can be good, right? My typical day is right now from 9 to 6 in tech sales, and I would say work-life balance is good, especially if you are a good performer. So it really depends on you, on how well you reach your goals. Of course, if you are behind, you need to work more in order to secure your goals for the quarter or for the year. So yeah, how much you work, it really depends down on your performance. And if you have a good team, no one is micromanaging you because you have a clear goal you need to achieve. And if you're able to achieve that, in less hours or more hours, that really depends on you, which I think is the right and healthy way to work. And the other thing that I like is engaging with customers. So talking with a lot of people, understanding what are their problems and making sure we're able to solve them. And I really like, having different perspectives on businesses. And as I work with startups, I hear a lot of startups ideas, a lot of startup businesses, and this really expands my horizons and gives me a 360 degree on what are the businesses that are working and which are the ones that are not performing that well. What's tough in sales is for sure reaching your quota, reaching your goal. If you work at a public traded company, you will have quarterly goals. So it means having basically 4 years inside one, because every quarter is a rush. And so Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, every time the goal is ambitious. So you really can be a bit stressful sometimes. But if you focus on putting the right inputs in, the outcome will eventually come. And also tough thing about working sales is that you get a lot of rejections. That's part of your work. So imagine you're calling the customer in a bad moment. You might receive, a bad answer, but you have just to, keep moving and move on to the next account. And it's part of the job, right? Getting rejection, overcoming objections. So I see everything as a learning, but sometimes can be tough if you get some rejections in a row, right? So yeah. These, I would say, are the tough parts of the job, but all in all, I think it's a great career and great job as well, working in B2B tech sales. So guys, I tried to pack a lot of information and value inside this video. I hope you really find it useful. Please leave a like and subscribe if you find it so. And let me know in the comments down below which are the topics around tech sales you would like me to deep dive into. And see you into the next video.